Today I want to talk to you about getting volunteers to practice on their own. I had somebody not long ago say you can't force volunteers to practice. And I would tend to agree with that statement. But that doesn't mean you can't get them to practice. You know, one of the things that I have found so very beneficial is to help my people understand that throughout Scripture, there is an ongoing theme of excellence, of wanting to do our very best for God. From the guys in the Old Testament who use their skills in a strong way to help build the temple, to Psalm 33 that says, play skillfully, talking to musicians. Think of even the sacrifices themselves in the Old Testament, that they had to have animals that were unblemished, the very best. Go into the New Testament and talk about doing all that we do for the glory of God, or whatever your hand finds to do it with all your might. I mean, this ongoing theme of doing things excellently. And so I want to help my people to understand that. And this isn't a go in and beat them over the head with this idea. No, it's an ongoing teaching them and helping them to assimilate that concept into their own lives. See, what I find too often is that people in our culture want a quick fix. They want an immediate solution for whatever the problem is, but the reality is that a lot of times there is not an immediate solution. There just isn't. And this is probably one of those. Especially if you're a worship leader and you inherited people who have had a habit of not practicing on their own, you're not going to walk in and say, guys, we need to practice on our own, and next week it's going to be fine. That is likely not going to happen. And so what you need to do is to help them to understand over the long term, to keep bringing up that idea of excellence and wanting to do it whatever we're doing in our immediate context in the area of music, to do it very, very well. And you know what that looks like over time is going to vary depending on your situation, how you do it. Teaching those things, helping them to understand it. But then when you see any slight even movement forward, to reinforce that. That was great. You know, somebody comes and they're actually prepared. They've gone through the music beforehand. Encourage them, and encourage them in front of the rest of the team, because then everybody else is saying, hey, I want some of that encouragement, and it helps them. Again, it's not going to be immediate. It's not going to be a quick fix. But over time, as you do that, it's going to make a difference in how people respond in what you're doing. And that's really the goal. You want them to eventually get to the place where they're willing to practice on their own. So a lot of people send out a YouTube video and a chord sheet or a lead sheet, whatever it might be, beforehand, so that people can learn the songs before we come into practice. And I'm not advocating that you have to learn it just like the recording. If you've come this far in these videos, you understand that I think it's going to depend when you're using the song and where it's at in the service and how it's being used. And every church isn't going to be able to pull off the recording sound. All of those things are going to play into it. So I'm not advocating that, but at least that they have a familiarity with the song, and that they can utilize their instrument in the context of how we're going to do that song. And so I want them to see this beforehand, work at it, and so when we come together as a team, then we have a little bit better handle on launching into that song, as opposed to nobody's ever heard it before and we're going to dive in. That just doesn't work as well. So when I see somebody who has actually done that, Jimmy, you worked on this song. I can tell that you're. I'm going to encourage that right then and there, and I want everybody else to hear it. And again, I'm not slamming everybody else. I'm encouraging Jimmy because he did what I asked. And that's going to over the long term drive everybody else to that place of actually working on the song beforehand. It's a practical thing. And again, I'm going to repeat it. It's not a quick fix. It's not an immediate kind of thing, but it will make a difference. You can't force people to practice, but you can get them to practice by using that kind of an idea to help them to understand that Scripture talks about excellence and doing things well, and then to reinforce when you see it happen, so that everybody else wants to get on board with that praise, that adoration, or whatever you want to call it, acclamation of what they've done in that context, to help them to everybody come along on this journey with us. And let's work on this stuff beforehand, because it's going to make us better as a team. Those are some practical things that you can do to get your musicians to practice beforehand.
Brought to you by MyWorshipLeadingCoach.com.
Helping you to be more fully equipped as a worship leader.